Okay, welcome to project one of my Christmas series. I am kicking it off with a super simple project. All we're doing is creating a cover for a notepad that will also house your pen. So you've got your pen, your beautiful cover, a little pocket in case you want to put something in there, or if you want to gift it, you can actually put a gift card in there as well, and your notepad. So super simple, super fun thing. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to be using two stamp sets from our mini holiday catalog. The first one being Jingle, 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 and the sentiment for the inside of our cover is going to be from the Sweet Candy Canes. So Jingle, 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 we're going to go ahead and use 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly this time around. Kind of like to switch things up. I do give my notepads out as gifts. I'm also a realtor, so if I'm meeting with new clients, I might hand them one for them to take notes and so forth. It's just a fun little gift to give out. I am also going to be using the Storybook Gnomes Designer Series paper. Now this paper is awesome, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you own the stamp set and the dies, you can actually cut these gnomes right out with our dies. So no more fussy cutting, which I'm not a fussy cutter, so I was really happy about that. So you can cut those out. They are awesome designs, double-sided paper. So if you haven't received the holiday catalog and you'd like one, always just reach out to me. I can always get that in the post to you. Or if you live in the West Valley, I will drop it on the porch for you. Ring the doorbell and run. So anyway, let me know if you need that. Let's go ahead and get started. All the measurements for the project today are right here in this corner. So go ahead and pause the video and write those down if you're interested. We are going to start off with a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock, which is cut at 8 1/8 by 9 3/8. We're going to put in 3 score marks. That's it, 3 score marks. Let me get my cheat sheet over here. The first one is going to be at 4 1/8. Make sure you're good and snug in the top corner and the side here. 4 1/8. 4 1/2. And 4 7/8. And that is it for the scoring. Told you, a super simple project to kick off our Christmas series. We can go ahead and fold on our score lines. Just give each one of them a good burnish. The middle one is always a little tricky because they are so close together. So just do that. Make sure you line up your sides before you score, and always score from the middle and out. And also do that on the each and every score line. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, you have 3 score lines, we're going to fold in on this middle piece right here. We're just going to fold our paper in half. You're going to see one side is larger than the other side. This other side, it will even out when we put it together, just so you know what you're working with here. And then to make it simple, I'm just going to take my ruler, and I'm going to put a tick mark at 1.5 inches and at 2.5 inches. This will make it the little, it's not a pocket, but the little holder for your pen. So where I made those tick marks, I'm simply going to cut here to your very first score line, here to the score line. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be straight. Just a little tab for your pen to go in and out of. Just make sure you do hit that first score line. So we've got that made there, and then we're going to go ahead and create our front cover before we start putting everything together. I think it's just easier. And for that, I am going to bring in my Stamparatus simply because I thought it was a lot easier to line up this stamp set. I was doing a lot of them, and this way, using this, I don't have to line it up every single time that I try to go and stamp. So I'm going to bring in, if you use a stamp case when you're using your Stamparatus, it makes it a lot easier when you go to ink up your stamp pad because it's not uneven. It creates a very nice even surface. We'll just move this out just a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in my piece of 4x8 basic white cardstock. And I had made little tick marks as to where to line up my paper so I get a perfect stamp every time. And I'm just going to put my magnet. And I'm going to be using, for the Jolly, I'm going to be using Pacific Point for the outline and Bermuda Bay for the inside. You can do all one color, you can do black. I was just being a little bit playful. Okay. And then I'm just going to press down a little bit. See if I got a good impression, which I did. And then I'm going to ink up my Jolly. And this is so great, these plates, if you have not seen the Stamparatus yet, these plates are so great because you can actually do, tiered stamping. You can turn it around and use the plate on both sides, so you could actually have a bunch of stamps all at one time. It comes with 2 plates, so you can stamp from the top as well, and it also is stepped, so you can do stepped stamping if you want to do it that way. Just makes things really, really easy. One of my favorite tools in the craft room. Then I'm just going to go ahead and ink up that Jolly. Now I will tell you, if you do have the Stampin' Spots, it does make that a little easier to stamp up, because sometimes you will make a mess. But the great thing is your stamp isn't, if you don't press down, it's not going to transfer to your paper. And then I'm just going to put some pressure here. And this O always gives me some trouble, so I'm going to give it a little extra push. And you see, I didn't get like a great impression here, so I'm going to go back and do it just a little more. Like I said, that O likes to give me a hard time. Okay, see, much better. And with, if you were doing that on a block, you wouldn't be able to line it up that easy. So I love that. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove my paper. I'm going to put an old paper in here. I don't mess up my grid paper. I got a lot of more stamping to do with that. And then I'm going to bring this back in. And I'm going to bring in my Poppy Parade color and my stamp that says, what does it say? 'Tis the season to be. And I'm going to stamp that in the Poppy Parade. Perfect. Not traditional holiday colors, but sometimes you need to think outside the box, right? And then I just wanted a little ornament, jingle bell up here, so I'm going to bring in my Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to add a little ornament to the top here. Perfect. And while I got the stamp pads, we'll go ahead and stamp our sentiment for the inside of the card. And that is actually going to be, if I can find it, a piece of basic white that is 7/8 by 2 7/8. Again, your measurements will be different depending on what stamp sets that you choose to use. It looks cute in so many different ones. And then I'm going to pull the sentiment from the candy canes, It says, wishing you lots of love, joy, and happiness this Christmas season and always. Okay, perfect. Now, this don't just have to be for the holiday either, you know. When my kids were in elementary school, I always gave these to the teachers, and they absolutely loved them. Okay, so I'm going to set this one aside, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish our outside piece here. So we're going to have a piece of some Storybook Gnomes DSP, and I cut this at 3 7/8 by 5 3/4. So we can just go ahead and adhere that. You can use liquid glue, you can use your stamp and seal, whatever's easiest for you. You know, I used to not be a fan of liquid glue, but it is becoming one of my favorite glues in the craft room because you can just maneuver it. You know, once you put this down, it's down. So I'm going to turn this upside down so I can see better. And I'm just going to give it a nice little 1/8 border all the way around. Looks good. And then I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down. And then the same thing with this. I'm just going to, I cut it a little, it's 3/8 of an inch piece, scrap piece of paper. I cut it just a little bit longer so I could get it lined up real well. You can use glue, or you can use your adhesive, whatever you like. If you do get adhesive on the outside, the good thing about the stamp and seal is you can just roll it under. And then I'm going to line this up here. And then I'm going to stick it right there. You know what? I did not cut this down to 8. I left this at 8. Oh boy. I left this at 8.5. It should have been 8. So let me think where I want to cut to make it right. Well, always thinking on the fly, right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut this down, and we're going to see if it works. Give me just a little piece there that I can glue to. And then I need to see here. Cut at 8. And I'm going to cut about a little under. We're going to see if this works. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. There's always a fix for something, right? So, y'all get to see my mess up in the real time here. I am going to bring in my liquid glue for this one, just to make sure that I have time to maneuver things. Okay. And you want about 1/8 of an inch border on all the way around on this as well. That looks pretty good, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down. Then I'm going to bring this in, see if we can save it. Oh, look, looks good. Okay, so we're going to glue that down. Thinking on my feet. Just thinking on my feet today here. Okay, so I'm going to line that up. And it looks pretty good, pretty good. However, it might make it a little tricky cutting this piece, but so we're just going to take this piece right here and cover up that mistake. And wham! Nobody ever knows, except anybody watching the video. So we fix that problem. We're going to come over, cut the excess off right here. Come in underneath here just a little bit and trim that up. Yeah, that looks fantastic. Okay, and so front cover's almost done. We're going to add a gnome. I'm going to put my mama gnome right here. You know, you could put her anywhere you wanted. You wouldn't even necessarily have to put one. I just like her. I was never a person who liked gnomes, and then I guess they've just been popular for a couple of years. My gal that I share my real estate office with, she loves gnomes, and I just kind of started finding them cuter and cuter. So and then I'm just gonna kind of eyeball her where I want her and stick her down. Now the outside of the card base or notepad cover is done. Get this out of the way, my mistake there. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to go ahead and create that pocket. Now to create that pocket, I used a piece of 4 by 3 and a piece of Designer Series paper that is 3 7/8 by 2 7/8, and I'm just going to adhere that to the base here, and I'm rushing around trying to get this video done before my kids come barging through the door. Okay, and then I'm just going to add that to the inside panel here, and then I'm going to add glue to 3 sides of the cardstock, and it's a simple pocket. It's just kind of a slide-in pocket. There's not a lot of room in it, just in case you want to add a gift card or something to it. And then I'm just going to take that and line it towards the bottom so it's nice and even, and give it a little tiny border here and a little tiny border here. Make sure that you don't put it on that score line or your flap isn't going to want to open and close correctly. So I've got that, and then I'm going to add my inside sentiment. All I'm going to do is take that sentiment we stamped, and I'm going to put it on a piece of 1 by 3 Poppy Parade cardstock. And you can pop it up on the inside, or you can glue flat. I'm just going to glue it flat today. On some of my other ones, I did pop it up because as you use more of the notepad, it kind of goes down. So either way works, whatever you want to do. And then kind of place that there, and I got Mama Gnome and Mama Gnome right here. Okay, now I'm going to take some tear and tape, or you can take your liquid glue too, whatever you like best. And I'm just going to put it not on the first set of score lines, but on the second score line in between the third score line. Okay, then I'm going to skip the little slit we made for our pin. Little holder, I don't know what the heck that is. It's like a little pin holder, I'll just call it that. And then add tear and tape to the top as well. So you have tear and tape here, tear and tape here. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the backing. And we're going to fold on the very last score line. So 1, 2, 3. You're going to actually fold on the last score line. And then you can push your pen holder out and you can push back your cover. Okay, so your pen will go in there, and then we're going to add the notepad. Now there's a couple of separate ways. I took this one out of here. There's a couple of ways that you can do this. Whatever's easiest for you is what you should do. If you want them to be able to reuse it, then you can make a pocket so they can always slide in a new one in and out, which is what I'm going to do. Or you can simply glue the back right into the pad. Just butt it right up to where it folds over here. And you butt it right up, and you can just glue it straight down if you want. I tend to like, for my customers and clients and whoever I give this to be able to reuse it. So I'm just going to kind of make a little band for it. So this is just a piece of scrap from when I cut the 9 3/8 section off of my cardstock. And I put a score line in at 1/2 inch just because I can. And then you're going to take that up all the way to the top of your notepad and wrap it around, and then kind of wrap this around. And you can add all of this, or you can just cut it off and glue, you know, a section of it, which is what I'm going to do here. Okay. You can do tear and tape, or you can do liquid glue. I'm going to do liquid glue, that way I can maneuver again. Once you put tear and tape down, you're kind of stuck as to where it goes is where it goes. And then I'm just going to kind of make sure I'm even. And I got a nice border at the top and the bottom down here. It's about even, and then I'm just going to press that down. And then this will close over like so. And voila. Now let's just make sure that this gets, well, okay. So open this up. This will slide in like so. And when they use it all up, they can slide that out and slide a new one in. I don't want to play too hard because I know the glue is not all the way dried yet. And there you go. Let me grab a pen. So I'm going to take my pen and slide it down. And there you go. There is our notepad cover, project 1 of the Christmas series. Thanks guys for hanging in there with me. It's been a while since I've shot a video, and I will see you again real soon with project number 2. Have a great day and happy crafting.